On BBC One now, time to join Nick Ross and Sue Cook for Crimewatch UK.
Good evening. An unusually disappointing outcome from last month, at any rate so far. Lots of first-class information, lots of new lines of inquiry, but some of it got nowhere, and much of it will take many weeks to follow through. So far, only one result. But that's the thing with Crimewatch. You never know which call will have dramatic results.
Well, first tonight, an appeal that has now become a matter of real urgency. 9-year-old Daniel Handley from Beckton in East London went missing sometime late in the afternoon of Sunday the 2nd of October. Just over a month ago. His mother was expecting him home by 6. He didn't turn up. Several people saw Danny during the course of that afternoon, most of whom have taken part in our reconstruction.
Did you get any new computer games? Yeah, I got Street Fighter and Haunted House. Oh, wicked. I'll come round tomorrow then. All right. I've got to go home now because my mum wants me back. OK then, I'll see you tomorrow then. Bye.
Please, can I help you?
Yes, my son's gone missing.
Can I have your name and telephone number, please?
Yes, my name is Maxine Handley. I'm calling from a call box. I've been looking around, but I can't find him anywhere. He was supposed to be home by 6 o'clock, and I'm getting really worried.
How would you describe Daniel?
He's 9, almost 10. This is the most recent photograph of him. He's about 4'2", with short blonde hair and a bit of a ponytail at the back. He's really friendly. He'd help anyone.
We know that he lived at home with his mother, Maxine, and her new boyfriend, Alex. Obviously, we can't discount the possibility that Daniel's been abducted, that he's been taken away from the street against his will. There have been a number of sightings on the 2nd of October and a number of statements taken. And what I'm hoping is that there is something contained within those statements, within those sightings, somewhere that there will be a clue that would help us in the discovery of Daniel's whereabouts.
Excuse me, would you like me to take your trolley?
Oh, right, OK, thanks.
Whereabouts is your car?
It's just over there.
Do you want me to take the trolley back?
You want the £1 deposit?
That's right.
Daniel was a chatty, confident child, and he would literally talk to anybody.
I thought you were only doing night shifts.
I do, but I'm on earlies this week.
Daniel was riding a very, very distinctive bike at the time he disappeared. As you can see, it doesn't have a saddle. The frame of the bike was silver, and it had black tyres with white walls. It was, in fact, a mock-up BMX bike.
Mom! Mom! Mom!
Oh, don't shout. I'm not on the other side of the street.
Found these letters.
Where'd you get these?
They were sticking out a letterbox with Old House.
Oh, clever little sod.
Can I go out again?
OK. We'll be back by 6. OK?
OK.
That was the last time I see Danny, was that afternoon. He was happy. He come in. And he went back out to play. But he's friendly, loving, and he gets on with everybody. He hasn't got an enemy in the world.
How often did Daniel come round?
Nearly every day. He was Alan's best friend. He used to stay quite often.
What about that afternoon?
Just playing outside, in and out all day, down the shops. And I was playing games upstairs in Alan's room.
Boing! Oh, and he misses! Oh no, and he's gone! Oh look, it's going now, man. It's getting boring. Let's go to the sweet shop.
Did anything happen while they were out?
Daniel's brother come round and told me that his mum said he had to go straight home.
Can't I stay?
No, not tonight. Maybe next week.
Just get my keys.
All right. What have you been up to then?
I just went down to the sweet shop.
What'd you get?
Just a couple of sweets.
Take care then.
Alan and Daniel are very good friends. They was always together. It's like having another son about.
Come here tomorrow then.
It was just like, it's like Alan's brother.
Alright, see you tomorrow then. Alright, bye.
Did you see him again?
That was the last time I saw him.
It's clearly very important that we pinpoint the exact location where this child disappeared from. So exactly how many sightings have there been?
There have been a number of other sightings, sir. At 6 p.m, Alex, who is Maxine's boyfriend, is walking along Tollgate Road with a friend towards the junction with Garnet Walk.
Yeah, look, it's Daniel. Here, Daniel. What? You've got to get home, your mum's expecting you.
I know.
What are you doing there, mate?
I'm trying to fix my bike. Every time I put my chain on, it keeps coming back off.
There are children that say they saw Daniel playing at 6:30 p.m. on the evening here in Soar Gardens.
It was about 7 o'clock and I come out from my house in Green Close. I was walking towards Yarrow Crescent and all of a sudden some boy on his bike just went zooming past.
What did he look like?
I think it's about 8 or 9 and he had a red top on. Then I walked towards Yarrow Crescent and there was this bike just sitting on the floor, laying there.
What you got there, Nish?
I found it on the corner.
You take it back where you got it from because somebody might come for that.
Alright.
Did you take it back immediately?
No, I waited for a little while and then I took it back.
The bike didn't stay there long.
And what time did it move again?
As far as we know, at about 9 o'clock, 2 men moved it and eventually handed it into police, following the appeals on the TV.
The search for Daniel has involved hundreds of officers who have trawled every area of open land in Beckton where he lived. The police say they've now...
Daniel's disappearance has really affected Alan in quite a bad way. Now he just goes to his room, plays upstairs, which him and Daniel used to do all the time.
I feel very depressed, I feel numb. I'm worried about him. I don't sleep, and I just want him home.
Mr. Williams, what do you and your team think might have happened to Danny?
Well, there are a number of possibilities. Firstly, it's possible that Daniel has simply run away from home, which I think is now unlikely. Second possibility is that he may be with some individual that's looking after Daniel, unaware of the uproar that Daniel's disappearance has actually caused. There is a third possibility, and this is my very real fear, that Daniel has been abducted by paedophiles who mean Daniel harm.
In which case he could be well out of London by now.
Absolutely, he could be anywhere in the United Kingdom.
Since we made our film there, you've had some new information.
I have, and this is what I consider to be a very important sighting. At about 6:30 p.m. on Sunday the 2nd of October, which is the day that Daniel disappeared, a car was seen parked in Tollgate Road, not far from the junction with Columbine Avenue. There were a couple of things that were unusual about this car. First of all, it was facing in the wrong direction, so it's facing oncoming traffic. Secondly, it was a 4-door car, and the rear offside passenger door of the car was open, and a man was standing by that open door with a map or book in his hand, and he was talking to a child, who I believe may have been Daniel, who was actually straddling a bicycle and leaning forward on the handlebars. Now, after a few moments, that man seems to have got back into the car, and the child, if it was Daniel, rode away. And the witnesses say that at that point, the car moved off too. However, a couple of moments later, the car was seen parked on the opposite side of the road, and, as we know, Daniel thereafter disappeared.
So it is absolutely vital to find out who these two men are and the car and to eliminate them from the inquiry.
It is absolutely vital, yes, crucial.
There are likely, aren't there, to have been more people who saw Daniel that afternoon who you don't know about yet?
Quite so. Now, the particular scene I've just mentioned, we know that a man and woman walked past. Now, I would actually like to trace both the occupants of the silver dark grey car that was parked in Tollgate Road. I would also like to trace the couple who were walking past. I'd be very interested to hear from them.
And you'd love to hear from somebody, presumably, who either saw Daniel abandon his bike or being abducted.
Yes, I would like to know whether Daniel actually walked away from that bike, which was found in Wintergreen Close, or whether somebody snatched him from it.
Well, he's a friendly boy, and he trusts adults, so he could have gone off with somebody. The longer that Danny remains missing, the greater our concern must be for his safety. If you've seen Danny anywhere in the last 4 weeks, please let the incident room know or call us here now. The number here in the studio is 0500 600 600. The direct line to the incident room is 071 275 5452. There it is, 071 275 5452.
Now to Photo Call, where last month's gallery of faces led to lots of sightings, but so far no arrests. Andrew Brian Martin was seen at Victoria Station in London, maybe on his way to France, where it seems he tried to join the Foreign Legion, but maybe you've seen him since. This man still needs to be identified. Cleveland police want to speak to him in connection with a series of raids on building societies in the northeast of England. If you've seen Andrew Peter Kutch or Suzanne Trounce, do please call us, especially if they've tried to sell you a car. And Christopher Thornton Blake wasn't where viewers thought he might be. So all in all, a rather disappointing month. Let's see what happens this time. Here is Superintendent David Hatcher and Detective Constable Jackie Hames with this month's Photo Call.
This is John Hughes of Highgate in Birmingham. West Midlands Police believe he may have important information about a murder. On Tuesday, the 18th of October, Tony Mullins was drinking at the Oliver Cromwell pub in Neashles when a muscular man sitting nearby stabbed him. Tony Mullins was 37 and had 3 children. John Hughes is well known in the Neashles area as a bouncer at local pubs and clubs. He's 35, 5'9", well-built and muscular with broad shoulders. He has close-cropped receding brown hair and was wearing a blue denim jacket and jeans. If you know where he is now, please give us a call.
Do these two look familiar? On Thursday the 20th of October, just after 9 AM, they robbed the Alliance and Leicester Building Society in Hinckley Road, Leicester. The men appeared nervous and ill-prepared, dropping cash on the floor before making their escape. The first man's about 25. He's 6 foot, of slim build and has distinctive high cheekbones. His accomplice is 19 to 20, 5'6" and of chubby build. He's got a round pock-marked face and a gold front tooth. If you recognise either of them or can help in any way, please call us now.
Do you recognise these 2 men? They're George Edward Bell and Glenn Robert Jarman. Colleagues in London would like to talk to them in connection with a series of deceptions. Since August 1986, 2 men have set up numerous businesses in Birmingham, Taunton and London. They have now disappeared, owing large amounts of money. George Edward Bell is 56, 5'11" and of stocky build. He's got mousy brown receding hair, which he now wears swept back. He has a scar between his eyes, and he sometimes uses the names George Clark, George Fredericks, or John Bell. Glenn Robert Jarman is 47, 5'10", and also of stocky build. He's got dark brown hair and walks with a stoop. He usually wears gold-rimmed glasses and is known to use the name Glenn Roberts. If you know where they are, please ring us tonight.
My colleagues in Jersey need your help to trace Kevin O'Brien. We believe he may be able to help solve a serious assault which happened last month in St Helier. In the early hours of Sunday the 16th of October, Jamie LeSueur was badly injured during a violent and unprovoked attack outside the Buzz nightclub on the Esplanade. Originally from London, Kevin O'Brien had been living in Jersey since May and was a doorman at the club. He could well have changed his name. He's 26, about 5'8" and stockily built. He's a keen bodybuilder. He has distinctive tattoos on both forearms, and these include the figures of Jesus Christ and St George on his left arm. There is a reward, so if you know where he is, or if you can help with any of our other photo call faces, please call us now.
And the number 0500 600 600. That's free call 0500 600 600.
A strange blue car and a stranger in blue dungarees. These are the 2 main clues in our next case, the murder of Julie Pacey. And detectives can't work out who the man is, where the car comes from, or whether the 2 are in any way connected. Maybe you can help. It happened 5 weeks ago at the Pacey's home in Grantham in Lincolnshire.
How's it going?
Everything's almost ready.
Okay, well, the table's set. Anything else?
If you could put the bread out.
Helen, tea's ready.
Okay, coming. Matthew, tea's on the table.
Be in a minute.
We always ate together every night. Always in the dining room.
How was football practice?
We got married in 1977, on exactly the same day as my mum and dad got married on. Julie was a wonderful person. She got on with everybody. She was so kind and caring and considerate. And that's the sort of person she was. She lived for the family.
Friday the 23rd of September, and Julie was at home as usual, because on most days a local girl stopped at the Paceys after school until her own mother got back from work.
I was walking down Longcliffe Road from my school when I saw a strange man walking into Mrs. Pacey's driveway.
Come in!
When I turned into the drive, I saw the man coming back. He was wearing blue dungarees and workman's boots, which were brown. He looked as if he was around 35. He was a fairly chubby man with a big round face, and it was all pink.
Do you want a drink?
Yes, please, Miss Pacey.
Yeah, then a man just came into the house. There was a knock at the door and I thought it was you, so I said, come in.
Julie later told her family how the man had asked for directions to Eskdale Road. Was that workman you? If so, for obvious reasons, please call and eliminate this line of inquiry.
Yeah, I'm PA.
3 days later, after the weekend, Monday the 26th of September, and that morning Julie was at her part-time job.
Julie had been working at the nursery since December '93. She was a very happy, bubbly person. She liked the children, and because she played so actively with them, they responded very well to her. That particular day I remember very vividly seeing Julie playing with a group of children. They were all very happy and they were playing, chasing bubbles in the garden.
Julie came home at about 2:45. Though the family car is an Audi 80, several people insist that mysteriously, on other occasions, they'd also seen her in a 5 Series BMW. In fact, at around this time, not far away, an acquaintance of Julie's was on her way out, and she's certain she saw the BMW again.
Driving along Longcliffe Road towards Manthorpe Road, I came up behind a blue-grey BMW. It was indicating to turn into Julie's driveway. I presumed it was Julie driving, as I'd seen her in a BMW before. As it turned into her driveway, I had to slow right down. As I glanced up the driveway, I saw her Audi parked there.
Julie left the house again that day. She was seen in Highcliffe Road, around the corner from her home.
I was just about to get into a taxi, having been visiting a friend on Highcliffe Road. I saw this man coming towards me in blue overalls. The car stopped for a moment and then carried down towards the junction of Longcliffe Road and indicated left. The man looked as though he was going to continue up Highcliffe Road, but ran back down towards the junction.
An hour later, Julie's daughter Helen was on her way home from school.
Hi, Mum, I'm home. Mum? Mum? Mum?
Her mother had been sexually assaulted and strangled. Superintendent Billingsley, this guy in blue dungarees, you've obviously got to eliminate him. He's been seen in this area over a period of several days.
Yes, he has, that's right. Between the Thursday before the murder, that's the 22nd, and the day after the murder, which is the 24th on the Tuesday, he's been seen on a number of occasions on that estate and also in Grantham, dressed in the overalls, and that's a fairly predominant feature. that he should be dressed in those, with a particularly red-faced, most of the witnesses describe him as.
He's wearing brown workman's boots, I gather. He's about 5'8", fairly sort of normal height, thinning hair as we can see. He was asking directions a number of times.
Yes, that's right, and it was particularly interesting, I think, on the Thursday, because he was asking directions for an industrial estate that was far away from that Manthorpe estate, at the other side of Grantham. He didn't ask for any repeat directions, which is abnormal. There wasn't a vehicle seen, and he went away. And again, he was wearing these blue overalls.
Now, he was seen on the Thursday, on the Friday, not then over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
That's right.
He was seen, as we've just saw in that reconstruction, running back after the car nearly missed him on the Monday, just before Julie Pacey was murdered. But again, he was seen in the area on the Tuesday.
Yes, he was. That's fairly interesting, because it's between the Manthorpe estate and the next residential estate, which is the Orchard Tree estate. A man was seen at 10 to 9, that's the following morning after the murder, kicking the grass as if he's looking for something. And again later that day he's in Grantham town, going into a shop and acting totally suspicious by the shopkeeper in his actions. And again dressed in the boiler suit, or that type of overall, blue overall, and again with a red face.
Well, it might be obviously entirely innocent, as might this blue BMW. Quite bizarre, this, that the family is adamant that Julie never had access to a blue BMW, and so many people on the estate say they've seen her in it. Sometimes, I think one was 7 or 10 days before the murder.
Yes, that's right. You're absolutely right. The family are adamant. There is no association that they can tell me about which puts the BMW with that household. And yet there are people who knew Julie, who knew Julie's car, the Audi, albeit that it was the same colour. They know that she had an Audi. They've seen the Audi next to the BMW, in fact, on the driveway. So and there's no doubt about the existence of that.
And on the afternoon of the murder, that's Monday the 26th of September, a BMW of that description, blue, perhaps blue-grey, seen speeding away from the estate towards Grantham.
Yes, on 2 occasions, at 3:20 on that day, leaving the estate, and as you quite rightly say, pulling off towards the Grantham. And then again, just before 4 o'clock, another car, again described as a 5 Series BMW, driving fast along Longcliffe Road.
Very fast?
Very fast.
I take it if somebody comes forward and says that was me, you're not going to do them for speeding there?
Absolutely not.
You need to eliminate that as well. And if you can tie any of these events together, either the man, if that was you, or if you have any idea who that might be, or the car, if you can explain that, here's our free call number, 0500 600 600. We're live, of course, the lines are open. If you can help, please call us now, 0500 600 600. Or you could try the incident room direct, 0476 62501. That's Grantham, or 0476 62501.
Well, the lines are all busy here. The will's certainly there, but there's nothing significant to report at the moment. Nothing on the whereabouts of 9-year-old Daniel Handley. So please do ring if you can help on 0500 600 600. It's not always easy to choose which crimes to cover on this programme. Surprisingly few of them have enough clues to warrant a full reconstruction, but there are a lot that could be solved with more help from the public. And with a roundup now of some of them, here are Superintendent David Hatcher and Detective Constable Jackie Hames.
First on incident desk tonight, do you recognise this man? He was one of a gang of who robbed a taxi driver at Gunpoint near Birmingham. The taxi driver was travelling along the A38 between Droitwich and Rashwood when he was cut up by 2 men in a small blue hatchback. They pulled him out of his car and stole his money. The victim was threatened, and before leaving, the gunman fired a shot. This narrowly missed his head. Were you on the A38 in the early hours of Sunday, the 24th of July? If so, you might be able to help us. The gunman is 35 to 40, around 5'8", well-built with cropped blonde hair. He spoke with an Irish accent and was wearing green army-style clothing. If you recognise him, please call the incident room on 0527 579 888. That's 0527, the code for Bromsgrove, 579 888.
If you were in Bristol city centre around midnight on Wednesday the 12th of October, you may have seen this rapist. A 24-year-old woman had been out for a drink with friends and was walking home past the Bristol Royal Infirmary when she was attacked. The man dragged her into a multi-storey car park in Eugene Street, only 50 yards away from the main bus station, and there he raped her. Her attacker was wearing a tan leather jacket and Adidas trainers like these. The man is between 28 and 30, 5'8", of slim build with spiky brown hair. He's got a large brown mole next to his nose. If you know who he is, or you can help in any way, please ring the incident room in Bristol on 0272 455 055. That's 0272, the code for Bristol, 455 055.
Our next case took place one Sunday evening 6 weeks ago in Kent.
Like Quebec 5, one male, late 30s, with gunshot wounds, request police.
Stanley Nichols was 37 years old when he became the victim of a shooting at the Anchor pub in Yalding, Kent.
He was just in there having a drink, and unfortunately he was in the wrong place at the wrong time for this tragedy to happen. I don't believe that there's anybody out there that would seriously want to do him any harm, because he wasn't that sort of person.
Another rum and coke when you're ready, Derek. Easy on the coke there, mate. Sure. You know I like it.
I
should be by now. Been busy?
Aye, we have people. We're winding down a bit just now.
What did you think of a new cast area?
Cast area? In the box. Hey, this is pretty.
Don't stand for a bit here. Came in that night, 8:30. Really good mood, relaxed, easy going, enjoying himself. Yeah, it was a really good mood that evening.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll get the guy's number off you.
Cheers.
Last order of the bar, please.
Night.
I did a normal thing, ring about 10:20, 10:30, we closed the bar off. We had a few people stay behind, friends and residents of the hotel. Yeah, Stan was there and he was no problem, so we let him stay for finish off his drink. And he did. Stan did our work and then yapped away to Stan.
A few hundred yards away, a couple were driving home along Lees Road.
What's that car doing? We were driving home around 5 to 11, coming along Lees Road, and I saw an indicator flashing to come out in front of us. You could see it was a blue Ford Sierra, had the interior light on. The driver was middle 20s, dark gel back hair. He was wearing a white t-shirt and a green bomber jacket.
It seems the men had been there for some time. Did you see them? At around 11 o'clock, they drove off towards the Anchor pub.
You know, just a bit of pottery on their house, you know.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah. Actually, I better be off, mate, so let us out with you.
No, no problem at all. No problem. Arrest is arrest. Come on, I'll show you out. Get back! Get back!
But it happened so quickly. When they said get the way I did, just natural reaction. I just ran. I said, poor old Stan never. And then I think he just froze.
My God! Just get an ambulance!
Why did they need to shoot anybody just to get a few pounds from the till? I've lost my brother and I miss him. And I just can't believe what's happened. It's a tragedy.
Perhaps you can help shed light on this unprovoked attack. It's quite likely the three men responsible for Stan Nichols' murder were not local. Please look carefully again at the man seen driving the Blue Sierra near the Anchor pub that Sunday night. He's between 5'10" to 6 foot tall, about 25 years old, with very dark, gelled back hair. And the gunman wore a black bomber jacket like this. It had a distinctive gold eagle on the left arm. He also left behind this makeshift balaclava, which appears to be half of an army-issue cap comforter. Ring if you know where the rest of it is. It could be a vital clue. So please, if you can help in any way, call the incident room on 0622 654 321. That's 0622, the code for Maidstone, 654 321.
On Wednesday the 5th of October, this man indecently exposed himself to 4 boys. They were playing in this grassy area near Hartley Crescent in Leeds between 3:15 and 4:30 when the man approached them. He grabbed the younger 2, who are 6 and 7, and frog-marched them a 1/4 mile through residential streets to a nearby wooded area known as The Ridge. The 2 older boys chased the man, shouting at him. After a tussle, they all ran away through the wood, but the man followed them and indecently exposed himself. The boys managed to escape finally by forcing their way through dense undergrowth. They're all badly shaken by their ordeal, and we're anxious for this man to be caught. So take a look at him. He's about 40, 5'10", with dark, slicked-back hair. He was wearing an unusual white or cream leather-type jacket and light trousers. He's got a very deep scar on one cheek. Were you in the Woodhouse area on Wednesday, October the 5th at about 3:15? Maybe you saw the man near the grassy play area or the Ridge. If you can help in any way, please ring the incident room in Leeds on 0532 413 085. That's 0532, the code for Leeds, 413 085.
And the number here is free 0500 600 600. That's 0500 600 600.
Our next case is a murder investigation which has been baffling officers in Leicestershire since it happened 10 weeks ago. Ken Brown was 55 and he'd been in the hotel, pub and restaurant trade most of his working life. On August the 25th, Ken was shot dead at his home. The 40 officers assigned to the case have questioned Ken's associates, both past and present. Their inquiries have taken them all over the UK and to countries abroad, but the motive remains a mystery. All that is certain is that somebody, for some reason, wanted him dead. The team's hope is that somebody tonight can tell us why. Our reconstruction begins on Monday, August the 15th, 10 days before Ken died.
Let's have you. All of you. There you are. Come on, here you are. Where are you? There you are. Come on, girls.
Ken shared his house in Barrow on Soar with his long-standing friend Graham Bailey. The 2 men had become business partners in 1988.
If I don't leave the airport right now, I'll miss my flight.
On the morning of Monday the 15th of August, Graham set off for a fortnight's business trip abroad.
I've known Ken for around 12 years. He was the best friend that I've ever had and ever likely to have had. He was a very considerate chap to me, up front, in front of all his staff and workforce, and some of the business deals we've done in the past. He may well have been seen as a very ruthless business person, but behind closed doors, when he goes home at night and he's feeding his chickens and his geese and his dogs, and he's walking around the fields with his cattle, is the softest person you would ever wish to come across.
The businesses ranged over 4 counties, from Yorkshire down to London, and most of Ken's working days were spent on the road visiting them all.
Hello, Kiwi.
Hey, Jeff. Everything all right?
Yes, great, absolutely.
How's Sue?
Very well, very well, yeah.
He was a very generous man, to the point that one of our members of staff unfortunately had a fall and she had to go off work for a while. He sent her flowers. He was always asking about her all the time. He made a point that when she came back to work, that he went and seen her, went in the kitchens to see her, made sure she was all right and that sort of thing. He always thought of his staff all the time, all the staff.
Hello, Andrew. How are you?
Hello, Mr. Brown. You all right? Not bad, thanks. Here.
Everything's going well?
Yes, very well.
Yeah. What are the bookings like tonight?
Tonight, Thursday night, very good actually. There's over 100 in.
On Tuesday, the 23rd of August, Eleanor Jenkins had been shopping. As she drove home around midday, her route took her along Walton Lane, where Ken and Graham lived.
A light-coloured Mercedes just came from out of nowhere, really, behind. And, well, I didn't even realise it was there till it was halfway past me.
And that Mercedes was to be seen twice more over the next 2 days. Ken rarely went out in the evenings. His regular routine was to feed his babies, as he called his animals, at about 8 o'clock, and then an hour later he'd go back and lock them safely in the barn for the night. At around 10 o'clock the following evening, Wednesday the 24th of August, these 2 women, driving close to Walton Lane, saw a white Mercedes waiting to pull out of a farm track.
It was a white L-Reg Mercedes, the new L, registration Mercedes, 4-door saloon. Well, my friend, she said, he's flashing his lights. Does he want us to stop? And I said, well, I'm not stopping along a lonely road like this. If he wants us to stop, he'll wait until we get into the village, and then we'll see if he's still flashing his lights. I would imagine as he overtook us and went on up the road, the speed was between 70 and 80 mile an hour.
That Wednesday night, Graham phoned Ken from his hotel.
Ah. Yeah. Is that all right, good or bad?
I would ring Ken most evenings, and we would speak for maybe up to an hour about the general business.
Well, no, I don't agree, quite frankly.
10 miles away, some 6 hours later. It's now the early hours of Thursday, the 25th of August. Terry Branston was patrolling at Murphy's Lake at Thurmston on the lookout for poachers.
Morning, lads. Broom angling water bailiff.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what you're doing here, please?
Just
waiting. You're not fishing.
Yeah, mate, we're just waiting for a mate. We're going to go night fishing with him.
Yeah, well, you're not supposed to be here. It's members only. Are you members?
No, mate, we're not members, no.
Well, the thing that made me suspicious was they got a bonfire. There wasn't fishing, so therefore they shouldn't have been there. So if there wasn't fishing, there was up to something. I'm sorry, but you just have to go.
We're only here to meet you, mate.
Who's that then?
It's called Samo.
All right, me old cock sparrow, we'll leave. Before we do that, do you know the area? Oh, born and bred here.
Yeah? What I want to know if there's any night fishing up here at Barrow on Soar. I think it's called Proctor's Pleasure Park.
Barrow Deeps, that is.
Yeah. Just there.
Terry noticed that an area on the map was ringed in blue biro, a stretch of land close to where Ken lived. He tried to get a look at the Astra's registration number.
I just got the first 3 figures of the number because they got a poncho draped over the bonnet which covered the last 3 figures. The only figures I could get was A832.
Later that Thursday, Ken arrived home after his day's work at around 5 o'clock.
Sandy, Goldie.
3 hours later, shortly after 8 o'clock in the evening, Eleanor Jenkins saw the white Mercedes again.
He just come flying out of the giveaway without looking in either direction. And I very nearly hit him. I know it was the same car. I think it's the size of the car, the way it was driven, as I was in quite a rush.
At around the same time, Ken was on the phone to Graham's mother.
Oh, well. I have to come and put the babies to bed. And don't forget, I'll be around at 9 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Bye.
If Ken followed his normal habit that night, he'd have gone out to settle the animals at around 9 o'clock. Andrew Nash lives at the end of a narrow lane a few hundred yards from Ken Brown's house.
As I was driving down the lane, about 9:30, the headlights swung round into the field and I saw 2 people, one of which I saw the face of. I've only ever seen farm workers walking through there. It's very unusual. When I got out of the car, the men obviously weren't visible because they ducked into the trees. And although I was fairly startled, I presumed at the time that they were just up to some form of mischief, and so simply just walked into the house.
The next morning, Ken's body was found in the barn. He'd been shot in the chest at point-blank range. Well, Detective Superintendent Cox, you have one really important forensic clue, don't you?
Yes, the type of ammunition used in the murder was very unusual. It was a modified shotgun cartridge where the cartridge had been opened and the lead pellets had been melted down to form a single slug about the size of a ball bearing and then repacked
using components from an Ely LG cartridge. Now that may mean something to people who are in the shooting fraternity. Ely LG cartridges are very rare. In fact, only about 1,000 a year are manufactured for use in the UK.
Right, so anybody who knows somebody who uses Ely LG ammunition, you need to hear about them so you can eliminate them from the inquiry.
Well, certainly anybody who knows anybody who modifies ammunition using those parts, yes.
Right. You also need to eliminate the owners or the drivers of that light-coloured Mercedes, which was seen several times in the days before Ken's death.
Yes, it was seen 3 times, perhaps the most significant being the night before at 10 o'clock when it emerges from a lane which goes to the rear of Ken's premises and would have overlooked the premises.
And then the 2 men at Murphy's Lake early on the morning of the day Ken died.
Yes, these are two men. One is described as having a London accent. He's about 6 foot tall with close-cropped ginger hair, a very stocky build. The second man with the northeastern accent is somewhat smaller, wears a black baseball cap with a Nike motif on it. They certainly have some very good quality army equipment, according to the Water Bailiff.
Are they possibly the same men, do you think, who were seen lurking in the trees that evening?
Well, I'd be very interested to know that. The 2 men seen in Burton Bandle's Lane are about 800 yards from Ken's house, as across the fields, and they have no real reason to be there. If they were just poaching, I would appeal for them to come forward so that we can eliminate them from the inquiry.
And finally, you're very interested in the fact that somebody saw a Land Cruiser type of vehicle parked outside Ken's house at around the time he died.
Well, we think it's around the time he died. Ken didn't make a phone call at about 10 o'clock that we would have expected him to make. He was a man of regular habits, and he would have run Graham Bailey at 10 o'clock, which he didn't do. A lady going home at 10 o'clock saw a 4-wheel drive type vehicle parked outside the house, and that may be an absolutely vital sighting.
So if anybody recognises that, please do call. But if you can shed any light at all on this case tonight, please don't hesitate to ring. We're here until midnight on 0500 600 600, and you can ring the incident room direct if you prefer on 0533 484 002. There's a reward in this case. The number 0533 for the incident room, which is the code for Leicester, 484 002.
Just look at a précis here of the calls that have been coming in so far. On the disappearance of Daniel Handley, the 9-year-old, quite a lot of sightings of a boy like him in various parts of London, which is fairly optimistic, but there have also been some information about a man in the Beckton area of East London who's been approaching boys 2 days before Daniel's disappearance. On the murder of Julie Pacey, a couple of names have been put forward for the man in the blue overalls. More significantly, a driver from Doncaster picked up a man almost exactly fitting that description who wanted a lift to Grantham. Now, if you've given anybody of that description a lift, we want to hear from you. Some very strong calls coming in from Photocall as well. We'll have a lot more for you later on.
And that's it for this month. Do keep trying if you have any information at all. The lines here are open until midnight on 0500 600 600, and we'll be back with all the news we can possibly give you at 11:15. That's Crimewatch Update at 11:15.
That's beyond your bedtime. Remember, most crime is petty, not like anything we've shown tonight. And some of these things, in any case, are on the road clearly to being solved. So don't have nightmares. Do sleep well. Good night.
Good night.
So, what did you do last night?
Well, I went out with the lads, and then I went to the match. What did you do?
I listened to 5 Live.
No one gets you closer to the action. 909 and 693 medium wave. Radio 5 Live from the BBC.
1930.